So today's topic is static and final keywords in Java programming. See, I gave an introduction yesterday. In yesterday's class, there are no students. There are less number of students are available. So that's why I'm repeating some of the important points regarding static keyword and final keywords. So let us see what is static initially. Then we go for final keyword. We discussed about static keyword in the last class like this. That is, static keyword in Java is used for memory management mainly. We can apply static keyword with variables, methods, blocks, and nested classes. It means we can apply static keyword onto variable, method, block, and nested classes. So static keyword belongs to the class rather than the instance of a class. So instance of a class is nothing but an object. So static keyword is belonging to the class rather than object. So this is what we can say Java static keyword. In Java, static keyword will be applied on a variable, method, block, and nested class. So this is what meant for. Next, let us see what is static variable. First of all, whenever you are declaring a variable as static, you must be sure that you are using that static keyword onto a variable to set a common property for all objects. It means that which is not unique. If you are saying that if any property which is not unique, then static variable will be used, like college name and company name of an employee. And one more thing, important point, that is static variables gets memory only once in the class area at the time of loading the class. So what is class area? Class area is nothing but where all the class code will be stored. Where the class area will be available? It is available under JVM. So one of the advantage of static variable is proper usage of memory. That is, it will save the memory because we are not creating the variable static multiple number of times. That is, whenever you are executing a program which contains one very static variable. So whenever you execute, let us say that you are executing that program multiple number of times, then multiple number of times a new variable will be created, a new memory will be created if it is not a static variable. If it is a static variable, only one memory space is used until the program closes or finishes its task. So this is about the first part of the static keyword. So to understand the static variable, first of all, let us see what happens with the static non-static usage without static keyword, how it will be, and after adding the static keyword, what will happen. So this is what the problem. Suppose there are 500 students in college. Now all instance data members will get memory each time when the object is created. It means that so every student, let us say that there is a class called as a student. So if you create 500 objects, because 500 students will be there, because that's why we are creating 500 objects for the class called as student, which contains roll number, name, and college. Because college name is same. Roll number, name, which are unique. but college will be a common property. Yes or no? So multiple number of times, that is 500 times, these variables will be created in memory each time when they have been created at the time of object. So all the students have the unique roll number and name. So instance members is good in such case, but college refers to the common property. See, whenever uniqueness of a value is available, then go for the instance variable. Something like this, roll number 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, something. Let us think that roll number starts from 1 to 10. So all of them are unique in nature. Similarly, name. Let us suppose that the names are not same. They are unique. So next, the third variable, that is college. So for that variable, which is common, why we are allotting more memory for multiple number of times, that is 500 students. So 500 students will get college name as ITS whenever it is an instance variable. So multiple copies will be available. 500 copies will be available for, so that is 500 students. So wastage of memory is happening here. So the solution for this is use static keyword for the variable called as college because it is common. And only once a memory will be allotted in this case because 500 students are there. If memory is fixed, because the value is also fixed for this here. For our example, the value is also fixed because the college name is same for all the students which belongs to the same college. So this is what happens with the student. We create objects in the heap memory named as S1 and S2, and they will contain unique ID and name. Unique ID and names like Aryan and Karan. But a common thing is available to both students, that is college equals to ITS. So whenever you are using the static keyword, the memory which is allowed for the variable called as college, the memory is fixed and the value will be supplied to everyone in the college. So next one is static method. Yesterday we discussed this thing. If you apply static keyword with any method, it is known as a static method which is preceded by the static keyword, then it is called as static. Next point, a static method belongs to a class rather than an object. Similarly, a static variable belongs to the class rather than the object. Similarly here, method belongs to the class. Static method belongs to the class rather than the object. Next, third point is static method can be invoked without the need for creating an instance of a class. That is, without object, we can call static methods. And one more thing here, static method can access static data members and can change the value of it. See, this is an important point here, that is static method can access static data members. It means that static methods cannot access instance data members, instance variables. Static variables are there, instance variables are there. So static methods access static members as well as, that is static variables as well as instance variables. But what happens here is, if you want to change the static variables data, then static method is used, not the instance method. Okay, I think everyone understood with this point. That is, static method can access static data members and it can change the value of it. But instance method cannot access the static members because instance methods are available to objects, because instance is nothing but object. Next, what are the restrictions which are based on the static methods? So there are two major restrictions are available with the static method. Static method cannot use non-static members or call non-static methods directly. It means that static methods A method which is called as a static cannot use static non-static data members, that is instance members, instance variables. So some of the cases when there is a requirement, then instance variables can be accessed by the static methods. When there is a requirement, I'm stressing this point, that is when there is a requirement, then only instance variables can be accessed by the static methods. And one more thing, a static method cannot call a non-static method directly. You observe this. It means indirect calling of instance methods is possible using static methods. That means a static method can call an instance method indirectly, not directly. Next, this and super cannot be used in static constants. So this and super keywords, this keyword and super keyword cannot be used in context of static. So why? We will discuss in the coming classes. Next, third category, that is static is applicable to the blocks. Static block. So a block, why we need a static block? It is required to initialize the static data members. As we say, constructors are required for initializing instance variables. Similarly, if you want to initialize static variables, we use static blocks. And one more important point with this static block is it is executed. A block which is called as a static block, it will be executed before the main method. Before the main method. Because main method is also a static method. But if your program contains a static block along with the main method, then static block will have the priority first, then main method will have the priority second. So this will be possible at the time of loading the class. So you can observe here class A2, which contains a static block, which is displaying static block is invoked. And after that, public static void main. So main method is there. Inside the main method, there is a hello main. Inside the static block, we have a static block is invoked. So which one is will be executed first? So static block will be executed first. So there is a question. That is, without main method, can we execute a Java program? No, we cannot execute a Java program without main method. We can compile and we can compile it because main method is available for us, but without main method we cannot execute. We can compile it, but at the time of compile time also it will give a warning that there is no main method in it. Okay, so this is what we have with the static keywords. So static keyword is applicable on variables, methods, blocks, and even classes also, static classes also. So we will discuss static classes in the concept called as inheritance. So next topic is the final keyword. So it is an important keyword which is applicable in Java. So what happens if we use final keyword in Java? So it is used to restrict the users, and it can be used in variety of concepts like variables, methods, and classes. So final keyword can be applied on variable, method, and a class. So what happens individually? That is, if we apply final keyword to the variable, so what is the issues? What are the issues? Let us say that what are the issues we can encounter with? That is, a final keyword can be applied with the variables. A final variable that have no value, it is called as a blank final variable or uninitialized final variable. I repeat once again, a final keyword that is applied with the variables then we can say that a final variable. And a final variable that have no value, final variable that has no value, it is called as a blank final variable or uninitialized final variable. And one more thing, it can be initialized in constructors only. Try to understand this point. That is, a final variable can be initialized inside the constructor. Next, blank final variable can be static also. Try to understand this one. Final variable. Blank means what? A final variable which is not initialized. So that variable can be in the form of static also, which will be initialized in the static block only. I repeat once again here an important point, that is a blank final variable can be in the form of static and it can be initialized within the static block only. Okay, let us see how these final keywords are applicable onto the various things, that is variables, methods and classes. So what happens when we use with the final keyword? So what are the facilities which we can come across when we are using the final keyword in Java? So final keyword will allow the user or will not allow the user to change the value of a variable, or it does not allow the user to override a method. And one more thing, if you apply on a class, it will stop inheriting the properties. So these are the three things where a final keyword is applied, and also it will not allow the three things, that is it will not allow the value to be changed for the variable, it will not allow method to override the contents of the methods, and it will not allow to inherit from one class to the other class. So this is what happens with the final keyword. So first of all, let us see a final which is applicable onto variable. If final is applied onto a variable, you cannot change the value of the final variable. It means it is a constant variable. So we have an example here. Let us observe that in this example, we have a class called bike9, a unique name. A unique name has been given to a class, that is bike9. So in this class, we have one final variable, and also we have run method. In run method, we are trying to change the value of speed limit variable, which is a final variable. So what happens here? There will be an error. Yes or no? There will be an error. Final variable, we are trying to change the value of a speed limit. That is what it is saying. Speed limit initially initialized to 90. In the run method, we initialize the same variable with the 400. So it is not possible because it is final. In the first point itself, we have discussed that you cannot change the value of a final variable. It is constant. So you can see that from this example, you can observe from this example that a final variable is a constant variable. Whenever you are supposed to use one kind of a constant value, then use this final kind of a thing. Next, when we apply final to a method, what will happen? As we discussed in the previous slide, that is, you cannot override. Overriding is nothing but, what is overloading? I want answer from you, please. Write in the chat box what is overloading, or you can unmute yourself and tell the answer. I want to hear the answer from you, because what is override, I will tell you. Based on the overloading, I will discuss overriding. We also discussed overloading in the previous classes. Anyone, unmute yourself and tell me the answer. Any one of you. I think everyone is able to hear me. If you are able to hear me, try to respond with an answer. Vamshi, what is overloading?
Sir, hello,
Oh,
hello.
tell me, Vamshi. Tell me,
Sir,
Vamshi.
a method with same name but different number of parameters and type of parameters.
Very good, very good. So, what happens with the overriding? Do you have any idea about it?
The method with same name, same number of parameters, and same type of parameters.
Yeah, exactly, Vamshi. Thank you for the answer. I think
Use
everyone understood from the.
okay.
I think everyone have a clear idea about this overriding concept. As Vamshi said, overriding is nothing but we have method name same, return type same, number of parameters name, and the type of the parameters are also same. So that is called as overriding. But when we apply final keyword to a method, you cannot override. It means that a method name, two methods with the same name, same data type, same return type cannot be possible. Okay, you can see here in this example, that is methods example, we have a class called as a bike, which contains a final method called as run, which have a value called as running. Similarly, here we are trying to use inheritance concepts. I will discuss in the coming classes what is inheritance, but to try, for example, you observe this one. That is, if method which is declared as final in the subclass called as Honda, we have a method name called as run with the same name, same return type, and the values may not be the same. That is, the definition will not be the same, because in the previous final run method, we have a content called as running. In the second definition of the run method, we have running safely with 100 kilometers per hour. So you can do that. It is up to you. But here it is an error, because you are trying to define a method called as a final multiple number of times. So it is not possible. Okay. Next, when we apply final keyword to a class, what will happen? So if you are applying a final keyword to a class, you cannot extend it. Extend it means you cannot inherit the properties of superclass to the subclass. Okay. So this is also one kind of a feature which is available with the final keyword. So this is all about the keywords called as static and final keywords in Java programming. So those who have any doubts, please raise your hands so that I can clarify your doubts. Otherwise, we will end the session. Someone try to respond. See, everybody is in a silent mode. So all of you in the silent mode means it means you are obeying to whatever I am saying. So if I say wrong also, you are obeying it. If you respond to certain questions, then only I can know that you are able to understand. If you are not responding to me, because the subject is very important, I think. So roll number two raised hand. Why? What happened? Tell me.
Sir,
Hmm.
sir,
Tell me,
same
Vamshi.
book is block. It is automatically. Sir, are you hearing? Sir,
Vamshi, audio break అవుతుంది.
is it clear, sir?
The voice is not clear, Vamshi. I think some kind of audio disturbance is there.
Sir,
Tell me, Vamshi.
sir, sir, static block ని మనం కాల్ చేస్తాం automatic మళ్ళీ వస్తుంది.
Uh, uh, Let me answer this question, Vamshi. I understood from your question that who will call the static block? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So the
sir.
question, yeah, the answer for this question is JVM. JVM is responsible for looking after the static blocks. As I discussed in the previous class, that is JVM is responsible for, or JVM compiler or Java compiler. It is responsible for checking all the static variables and all the static methods or static classes which are available, static blocks, okay, which are available in our program. First, they will check this static kind of variables or methods or classes, whatever it may be. So then they will be responsible. They will be responsible. Who? Java compiler or JVM. Both of them. Both of them are responsible for us. So they will be calling the static methods and static variables with a class signature, with a class name only, with not with the object name. They will be called with the class name. So static will be under class scope. Static variables or static methods are under class scope. Instance variables and instance objects, so that is instance methods, are under the scope of objects. Only with the objects we can access instance variables and instance methods. So I think everyone understood this topic. Anyone? Please raise your hand. Try to respond.
Sir,
Oh, tell me.
sir, we can also say static block as a constructor to the instance variable. I mean, static variables.
Can you type in the question, please? I have an audio problem. You have an audio problem, I think so. I am not able to hear properly. Try to write the question in the chat box. I think Vamshi,
Sir,
you asked the question.
yes, sir.
Okay, okay. You type it. You type it in the chat box. What about the remaining candidates? They are not responding because Java programming needs more practice actually, more lab hours. Due to this unwanted situations, okay, we are in a stage that Lab cannot be possible. If all of you have the laptops, if all of you have the PCs, then try to practice at least some of the programs which I will send you. It is, yeah, I got the question. That is, sir, we can also call static block as a constructor for static variables. Yeah, obviously, exactly, Vamshi. But the name will not be this constructor, it will be a block. Okay. And when they ask in the interview, let us say that in interviews they will ask what is the speciality of a static block. Similarly, what is the speciality of a constructor? So we can say that the purpose of both, that is static block and constructors, are to initialize variables. But according to static block, we are initializing static variables. According to constructors, we are initializing instance variables. That is what the type of questions which we encounter in the interviews. So I think no one else, anybody else, those who have questions, otherwise I will end the session. I will wait 1 minute more for the questions because we are left out with less than 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes. Okay, I think everyone understood this topic. If you have doubts, you can message me or text me. Okay, this is all for today. Tomorrow class we will be discussing more number of important points regarding various other topics. Thank you one and all.